This is Jerry with McKellar's Modified Rides. Today we're working back on the 1-ton dually with the single front wheels. We don't use the dually in the front, we just run like the 1-ton single wheel. But we're gonna put a free spin kit and the CAD delete axles kit. Give you an idea what that's involved. It originally comes with 32 spline axles, I think 32 or 33, and then now we're switching over to the 35 spline. We're going to be removing all these items here where it releases the axle. We pounded out the plastic or nylon bushing on the left-hand side of the CAD vacuum pod area, and then also remove the original seal on the other side. I noticed when it got new seals, originally I had some laying around, and I noticed that the original axle seal for the left-hand side has got the same OD but a lot smaller ID. So we're going to take this Timken here, part number 710566, and put it in the axle. So right now we've got it rigged up with some all thread, and we're going to draw that seal into the axle tube on the left side, because when you put the CAD delete, they give you seals like this that are going to pound in the inside on both sides of the carrier. So we're going to be putting one of those seals in that side and in that side. But just for a little extra insurance, we're going to go ahead and put this seal in the axle tube. You can see that we rigged up a little washer setup, and we took out the old seal, and we're actually going to take the seal that belongs in this side right here. Factory, you only have one seal on one side, and we're going to move it around that Timken seal and put it in this side, and that's going to fit snugly on the axle diameter. Now we have the seal installed in there. Kind of went a little manipulating to get it to go straight. This plastic bushing right here that went on the other side originally, we came from the far side with a long piece of pipe and drove this out just for a little more clearance. It's really not serving any purpose at this time. Plus the diameter of the 35 spline axles is much larger. And remember, that seal there's got a lot smaller OD than the original seal that we pounded out. And what that'll do, that'll sit nicely around the axle, and it'll keep that end of the tube clean of sand and dirt and debris getting up into the two seals that we have up mounted up in here. Again, that seal originally went right in that location, and now we'll put those new seals on both sides. Okay, the seal's fully installed in there. Wasn't too hard to get in there. I thought I might have to use one of those pullers that you put the original seals in there with, but it just kind of snugly taps up in there pretty easily. They want you to put some silicone on the outside of the O-rings, between the O-ring grooves, and they want you to fill the cavity inside of this with a low melting point grease. We just had some white grease. It's the lowest melting point stuff we could find. You see this side here, it originally had a factory seal. Now we'll go and install this one. One thing I'd be cautious of is this snap ring on there. When you're tapping it in, it can bump through there and get that snap ring to pop off out of its groove. So I had to kind of pull it back and get that back in there. So be careful, just get it where it just seats inside there, and I think you'll be good. Both seals are installed inside the carrier, so you can get the carrier, or in the housing I should say. Now we can get the carrier installed in there. This axle kit that I purchased is from EMS Off-Road. They do a nice job, make these 35 spline axles, and this CAD delete. This is the vacuum actuator that factory went on there. They give you a cover here to cover that up with a new gasket. Again, if you didn't want to buy axles, there is kits where you can take this whole mechanism apart, and you can lock this thing out in one direction and keep it engaged all the time if you're having problems with the vacuum operated. The original switch that goes on here, that turns the four-wheel drive light on. That is no longer going to be operational. So what I'm trying to do, I'm halfway there, just find the right switch, is I went to the transfer case and took out the vacuum switch, and I'm finding a replacement switch like off of a 1-ton Chevy or Ford or some other one that uses the same kind of transfer case that doesn't use this CAD axle kit. So we're working on that. I ain't quite found the right switch yet. I got a Dorman one, but it didn't reach far enough. So sooner or later I'll find the right one there. Also, to put this kit on, in this cover right here, you have your vent. Your vent goes in this hole right here, and you have a hose that runs up underneath the the inner fender on the shock tower, and it runs down to it right there. Well, I just took the whole hose off and moved it over to the opposite side, put it in the same location, and then drill a hole into the housing right there so you have a vent from the top, that vent hose right there from the top. And now I just hooked it right back up how it was on the other side, on the driver's side now. It used to be on the passenger side. You want to do that because now with seals on both sides here, there's no vent. Before it was able to go down that axle tube and vent out at midway over here. Now it'll need to vent so you don't get up too much pressure built up and cause those seals to leak prematurely. Okay, now we have the carrier all up installed in there with the ring and pinions all installed and torqued down. We changed the gears on this one, and we've actually added a spool. Of course, you have a regular carrier. It's going to look a lot different with spider gears in there. Remember, we're changing this from 32 spline to 35 spline, so they only make a spool in 35, so that's one reason we chose to make the change. But again, if you want to stick with your stock carrier, they do make a kit like this for the 32 spline, and you can also change your spiders out and go to the 35 spline if you want to do that, or change over to a posi. Okay, we got the kit all installed. They give you this cover to block off the opening there. Everything's installed in there. Again, we also put a free spin kit on this particular unit. There's plenty of other videos on that on the internet, so I don't think you need to that, but I didn't find much for this 35 spline conversion. So if that helps anyone out, I hope it does. If we can help you here at McKellar's Modified Rides, give us a call. Thank you very much.